Hello everyone and welcome to your March 2022 reading. This is a collective reading for your sun, moon, or rising sign. I have some announcements and some things to tell you about the format changes, but before I get into that, I just want to say for anyone who's new and just coming to see me for the first time, hi, I'm Nonamae. Also, collective readings can't obviously capture what's going on specifically for every single Aries or Sagittarius or whatever, right? So I would say take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And also check out, if you're checking out your sun sign, check out your your rising sign I would suggest next, and then your moon I would say maybe last, for whichever resonates with you the best, right? So there might be one that resonates more this month than the other. The other thing is that we are self-determined, not predetermined, so please remember that. If you hear something that feels anxiety inducing in some way, then make sure to just kind of check in with yourself and remember that if you hear something that sounds scary or disturbing, there is a reason for that. That information is given to us so that we can kind of course correct. It's like you see the train coming down the tracks and you have the ability to step off to the right or step off to the left, whichever way that you want to go, right? So just keep that in mind. I do think that there's an amount of fate somewhere in our lives in the world, but I think for the most part it's really about our free will. So sometimes I think the information that we get gives us the information to either affirm certain things or to let us know, hey, maybe you want to shift track, so that's all I really want to say about that. If you do want a specific reading, you want something that's definitely more about your situations, what you're dealing with, and is specific to your energy, then I would recommend getting a personal reading, and the link for that is down below. Okay, that's all out of the way. That's all said. Now let's get into some stuff that I'm pretty excited about. So laugh if you must, but I have to have notes so that I can remember to say everything I wanted to say to you guys. So I'll try to move through this as quickly as possible. This is also for your benefit so that I'm not long-winded, even though we all know I'm long-winded. So I don't go on forever. All right. So there has been a shift in the format this month, and that's really more so based on the feedback that I got. So a lot of people DM'd me that watched it, maybe not a lot of people, but a few people DM'd me that watched it, and they let me know what they thought I could maybe shift. And so I took that into account, and the things that I kind of heard over and over, I thought, well, let me experiment. So if I moved something that you really liked and wanted me to keep from the last month, please let me know, throw it down in the comments or shoot me a DM like the other people did. And then that way I can kind of gauge how to continue to improve the format here, right? Okay, so that all said, let's get on to all of the announcements that I'm pretty excited about. All right, so last month we had our first Cards and Cocktails events. We did two on Valentine's Day, and they were so much fun. So I'm definitely keeping them. I'm hoping that they really even continue to pick up. Right now, I'm looking at once, maybe twice a month. So the best way to really know about that is to stay in contact with me. I'm going to start trying to plan them ahead of time and put them in the descriptions for these videos. But for right now, the best way is through social media. So definitely check out the links for that so that you can stay in touch if you want to be a part of it. But it was super fun. Cards and Cocktails is just like, bring your cocktail, bring your mocktail, bring your wine, and bring your questions. And it's totally free. It's just like, hey, let's hang out. Let me pull cards about whatever your questions are. And I just hung out for as long as there were people coming through. So it was so much fun that I decided I'm gonna definitely continue doing it. So if you want to know when the next one is, I'm thinking it might be second week of March, so I'm not really sure yet. I'm trying to solidify those dates currently, like in the next couple of days. So those should be up soon. Along with that, I'm considering doing a tarot after dark kind of thing. And that's kind of like, bring your juicy, dark, shadowy types of questions and let's kind of dig into it, right? And that's another kind of hangout that I'm considering. If that sounds cool with you, please let me know, because it's what helps me know what to continue to create, right? Okay, so next thing is, right, I have some new, see, this is why I have a list. I have some new options on Patreon for weekly and monthly readings. So, and those are also live version, like doing live readings with me, or just one-to-one, or doing a recorded. So, and those are different pricing tiers. But if you are looking for just kind of like ongoing guidance around, I don't know, maybe you're dealing with some relationship stuff or something with business or a project, or you just like having the consistent guidance about certain things and you just want to have that and know what's going on for the week or the month, then those options are available to you. So you can do a monthly reading, live or recorded. You can do a weekly reading, live or recorded. The weekly readings are 30 minutes long and the monthly readings are 90 minutes long, sometimes 90 plus, depending on what's really coming up. So I'm only at the beginning opening up 4 spots for each of those tiers because I just want to make sure that I'm able to deliver on time. And so I don't want to have an influx of people and not be able to deliver. So I might open up more spots, but for right now I'm keeping it at 4 for each of those tiers. So that's just opened up. I really just created that the other day. All right. So along with that, with Patreon, I noticed that it's lacking in some flexibility for purchase options. So I do recognize, because these are collective readings, perhaps because every month your sun, moon, or rising may not be resonant with you, like maybe one month it is and one month it isn't. And so if you're doing Patreon, you're subscribed to getting them every month, right? So I have decided that I need to create a, it's been a long time coming, but I need to just create a really simple web page. So I'm working on that. It might take me 1 to 2 months, but I want to be able to offer that if this particular month resonates with you, that you can purchase a one-off instead of needing to really be in a subscription for that. I think that the monthly and weeklies make more sense for Patreon. So I'd like to have some flexibility in that. So for right now, you can do it through Patreon, but I am trying to have that out, like just a really simple, it's not going to be a fancy web page or anything like that, just a simple, you know, able to purchase those. Also, the options are a little limited for how to create bundles. So let's say that you really want to buy your sun and rising, or your sun and moon, just basically 2 out of the 3, or you want your sun, moon, and rising extended because you want all of them. So if you want something like that, or let's say that, you know, you watched your sun sign, your friend watched their sun sign, and you guys both want the extended, I want you guys to be able to just purchase those for the month. So there will be options to purchase 2 or to purchase 3, and those bundles of course will just be at like a little bit of a discounted rate, so that, you know, because you're buying more than one. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's on the horizon. That's something that I'm creating. With so much on my plate right now, honestly, it might take me about like 1 to 2 months to actually get that done. So okay, there's that. Sorry, just a little bit more. So the new and full moon readings that I talked about last month for starting. So I didn't do them for the month of February, and I am considering, I'm not sure whether I should do a recorded version here on YouTube or whether I should do a live hangout. So I would love some feedback about that if you guys could let me know so that I know what to create. But this new moon that is kicking off March on March 2nd is going to be huge. Really, really big. Lots of astrologers that I follow and trust, and other people that I know energetically have been talking about this, and it is going to be a big one. So because of that, I already have a lot on my plate that day. I may not be able to make the new moon for this month for March, but then the full moon in Libra, which I believe is on the 18th, I may be able to do one, or I'll definitely be able to do one then. So I'm not sure whether I should do a live, because then at least you guys can join and then just show up and ask your questions and we can just hang out, or whether I should do a collective, just one overall. So let me know your thoughts about that. I'm gonna make that decision in the next probably week and a half tops, so that I can get that information out there to you guys. Okay, this is the other thing. All right, this is a big deal. I don't know if you guys are aware that Facebook has made changes that are going to be effective on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know whether YouTube is following suit. I have no idea. I need to do more research on this, but they are effectively changing the way that people in certain fields are able to be discovered, or their ability to market to people who are interested in what they have to offer. Amongst those are astrologers and tarot readers, spiritual coaches, things like that. So definitely affects the realms that I'm in. So if we don't really know the extent to which this is going to affect things. So I'm already kind of looking ahead and trying to see where I might put my attention, what other things I can create as a result to pivot because of this. So one of the things that I just wanted to kind of bring to your attention is, if you weren't aware of this, check it out for yourself. I'm also going to do more research and see kind of how it rolls out and what it looks like. But if there are certain astrologers that you really resonate with, tarot readers, people in these realms, including myself, it's really helpful to us to just share what we are offering. If you resonate with it, if you like the content, more than ever, it's going to be about supporting community. And so I definitely am planning to do that myself with the astrologers and the tarot readers and the spiritual workers that I actually follow and work with. So I feel like, there's a lot of talk about why this is happening and that it's another level of censorship. And I am kind of holding off on what I totally think about it until I see how this actually plays out. However, it's not necessarily encouraging. So I just wanted to bring that up. It is helpful. Please do share it for myself, for you, for like your friends, for other people that, that you follow, that you resonate with. Just something to know is that sharing and being in community is probably going to be the way that most of us who do what we do are able to continue doing what we do. So I just wanted to mention that. And also to stay in touch. And for right now, I haven't created any other kind of platform to bring people onto. So for right now, I mostly post on Instagram. My Instagram handle is down below, so definitely follow me if you're not following me already. That's the main way that you can stay up on the cards and cocktails, the tarot after dark, the new and full moon readings, and any kind of new announcements that I roll out. Speaking of which, I am rolling out a referral, kind of like an affiliate type of link program thing. And so that'll be in effect probably by the next 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. So it could be sooner, the first half of the month for sure. And I'm trying to decide on what it is that I want to be able to give back and reward you guys with for sending a referral. It's a really easy link, and you just basically get your own personal link and you can share it very easily. And I want to make sure that I say thank you. So I'm thinking maybe a discount on personal readings with me as a reward. Let me know your thoughts. If you have ideas for what you think you would like and what would be a thank you to you that would feel good for sending a referral, then please let me know so that I can kind of get the wheels turning on that. I definitely want to release that quickly. So, and the other thing is, with all this is the last thing, I swear. So moving ahead, looking ahead, and not knowing how this is all going to affect us, I am looking at another live streaming platform that's relatively new, and it allows for posting your questions in a chat and for doing live readings and all the things. But I think the struggle has been trying to figure out doing readings on on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and do I do cards and cocktails on each one of those or only on one? And where do I do all of the hangouts? And this is kind of one way for me to bring everyone together into one space. You don't have to create an account, you don't have to sign on to a program or anything like that, but you just have the link, kind of like a Zoom, and you just hop on. So this is something that I'm actually gonna probably be trying out. That looks like more towards the end of March. So again, if you stay in touch with me, otherwise I will be probably announcing it on next month's readings. Okay, that is everything. That was a lot, but a lot has developed and a lot is moving. By the way, I am loving this. My friend, I'm just gonna call you out, Crystal, she gave me this beautiful kimono and I just love wearing it, and I'm wearing it today, so I had to look at it in the screen. I love this. So thank you, Crystal. I love it. Okay, I think that's all. So please enjoy your readings this month. Let me know if you have any feedback, and thank you for your patience and for listening to all that if you did. And please share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next month. Enjoy. Bye. Hello, Libra, and welcome to your March 2022 reading. This is a collective reading for Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay, so keep in mind that it's a collective reading, and that if you want a specific reading, something that is way more specific and directed to what you've got going on, you can book a personal reading with me. It's a 90-minute reading. The link for that is down below. Also, a whole bunch of new events that are going on, that are coming up, new offerings, and yeah, lots of new stuff. So I also talk about the format changes based on the feedback I got from last month. So if you skipped ahead, I definitely recommend going back and checking that out so that you know what's on the horizon, because I'm pretty excited about some of the cool stuff coming up. But all right, let's get into your reading, Libra. All right, I also got some feedback that sometimes the shuffling is a little bit loud for people who are wearing earbuds, so just want to, I'm trying to turn away. I hope, let me know if this is better. I'm trying to turn away from the mic as much as possible when I'm shuffling. Just for certain shuffles. Not all of my shuffling is so loud. All right, so let's check out what's going on for general. Okay. I'm going to check out what the feeling is for overall feeling. That's like the overarching vibe for the month. What the challenge is that's coming up for Libras. Okay. All right. We have 2 cards coming up in the challenge position. You might notice my light changing a little bit here. Even though I've got some light focused on my cards, that's just because there's a storm rolling in, so there's like changing light, in case you're noticing that. Hopefully it's not too dark. All right, and then we have spiritual advice, and I can already see that I'm gonna want to get clarification for you guys about this. So let's bring this up here. And let's take a look at what is also coming up in the space of business, career, finances. Okay. All right. And challenge that's coming up. And also what your spiritual advice is that's coming up for you guys with finances, for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, the month of March. Feeling like there's another one in here at least. Yeah, 2 actually. Okay. Interesting. We've got 3 and 3 coming through for your spiritual advice. So let's start with, I'm going to bring these out of frame and then we'll bring them back into frame. Let's actually start with what's happening in general. The overall, let's get an overall look at what's happening with Libras. Okay. And actually, I'm going to bring these down. I'm seeing kind of like a storyline here. All right. Okay, Libra. So, you know, it's definitely looks like there's been some struggle. And there are certain things to allow the disillusionment of, like, to dissolve, right? First, let's just start with like some of what is coming up that's coloring the month of March as we're moving into it, maybe throughout. So this might be something, but usually when we're looking at the 7 of Swords, this is a place where it's like a prison that is from the construct of our own mind. Swords are about our mental spaces, right? They're about thoughts, ideas, communication, all of these kinds of things. And this card is definitely representative of like overthinking, being overly analytical, and creating a lot of stress and anxiety for ourselves when we could very easily shift our perspective and not be inside of that. The reason I say this is because this particular woman, you can see that her feet aren't bound. She's not in deep water. She's in shallow, kind of muddy water. All she has to do is really walk away. She's not surrounded by and like imprisoned in some kind of like fortress or prison of any kind. There's nobody guarding her. this is suffering of her own making, the anxiety that comes with it, the stress that comes with it. Often it's from overthinking or just having a lot of stress, and like needing to have a shift in perspective. So because this is part of the overall feeling and reading, I just want to say, like, this could be related to any aspect of your life, right? This could be family, this could be your living situation, work, career, love. It could be any of these things. I know at least a few close Libras, and so just knowing what a couple of them are going through, one in particular who's a family member, I could say, like, this seems like so far it's looking like it could be accurate. So for some of you out there, this might just be something that is in different areas of your life, but that you can relate to. So that all said, we're looking at what the challenge that appears in here is. And, the Five of Pentacles, one of the things about the Five of Pentacles, like one of the buzzwords to remember the Five of Pentacles by is like this kind of feeling of being like a victim or being out in the cold, like I'm all alone, I don't have support, I have to do it by myself, when they could very easily, like these two could very easily go into the warmth of the establishment behind them. We could say that that's a church, it's like warm and glowing on the inside while they're out in the cold, and that feeling of being out in the cold is like harshness, it's iciness, it's feeling alone, it's it's feeling hardship, it's a lot of different things like that, and feeling like, oh, there's nothing else I can do, and being kind of in this victim space, right? When we're looking at the Empress, who's normally this like voluptuous, beautiful woman who is like artistic and empowered and sensual and very like in the earthly delights, right? This is Venus. She loves things that are aesthetically pleasing, normally is birthing things into the world, can be very creative, right? So this really wonderful type of Venusian character, and we see her in the challenge position. So, sometimes these represent actual people, but sometimes not actual people. When we're looking at what she stands for and the archetype that she is, who she, like what her energy is like, right? Which can be very like flowy and grounding at the same time, like all of these kinds of things, right? This could actually be about when we don't see the feminine energy in life as something that is necessarily positive. This could have to do with mother specific kinds of challenges or concerns or issues. Like the whole not wanting to be like our parents thing. Like this could be like not wanting to be like your mother figure, that kind of a thing. This could also be about, because she is an earth-ruled sign here, because she is earth-ruled and she's an earthly being and very much about the earth and groundedness and the earthly pleasures, this could be about it being out of balance. So just kind of using resources kind of recklessly or excessively and not in a way that is grounded, right? So just kind of leaking it out, your resources. Now, resources can be money, of course, but it can also be other things that we have that are our resources, right? Our time, our attention, our, whatever, like these are all different kinds of resources, like physical things that we actually own, lending them out to people or just giving them away, giving things that belong to us away, things like that. So it could be related to spending though. And with this in conjunction here, given that it's Pentacles and that is also having to do with the earthly, tangible world, which can be resources that are money, having to do with money, I'd say that for some of you, this might actually be the kind of concerns that are coming up around your money situation and about the resources and how they're being used, right? So, and whether it's, whether you're doing things in excess as well and not necessarily in balanced ways. Now, we pop over to what we're looking at with the spiritual advice and what's being pointed to. And I might even put this here like this to read it kind of more as like a story. And what we have is like whatever was going on in your experience recently or that you've been going through, something hasn't been working. The foundation, the structure hasn't been working. The Tower card looks scary as hell, and so does the Three of Swords, I understand. But the Tower card, really, it's when we resist and go kicking and screaming that it feels so destructive. And often it's because we've put in so much work or time or attention into creating something. And the thing is that it was either built on shaky foundation, or maybe it was built on a strong foundation, but then it became shaky and it wasn't workable. Like, you have to basically go back to the drawing board, let it clear and like let it level, and then build anew. Now, when people are thinking about this in terms of career or business or finances or love, right? Any of these kinds of things, it's like, of course there's disappointment. Of course it feels like there's a loss. It's hard to face that. It might feel overwhelming and just extremely heavy to face that something that you've put so much into is not panning out. Right? So this doesn't necessarily mean the end, though. What this could mean is that the structure of your business, the way that it was being built, did not have a strong enough foundation. Maybe you skipped a bunch of steps and you built too quickly, and so therefore the foundation or the framework was too rocky and not able to sustain this. And so it has to be leveled in order to rebuild anew. If it's having to do maybe with relationships, this could be about the structure of the relationship, the nature of the relationship, the way that it was before doesn't work. And that doesn't mean that you guys have to like separate, go your separate ways and, just like, that's it, never speak to each other again. But this could mean that it just takes on a new form, and that the only way that it's workable is if the old part of it is gone, and let that be, washed away essentially, and to start over from scratch. When we have like the lightning bolt coming down and hitting the crown of the tower, we could look at this as us, right? Our crown, our consciousness. It's like being called into a higher awareness, a higher level of awareness, a higher level of consciousness. So go back to the drawing board and see how you can structure things in a way that is more workable with a new framework, with something that is refreshed. Look at it with new eyes and see, how is this area of my life, or how is this business partnership, or how is this business or this collaboration or this relationship or this friendship or this family connection, how is this able to be birthed anew? Can I go back to the drawing board, and how can I actually make this workable, right? And so the other thing to really pay attention to is, we're looking at the Seven of Swords here. The Seven of Swords is like having to have fought battles to hold a certain kind of ground. But here in this particular position with what I'm seeing, it's like, which battles, picking and choosing your battles, like which ones are you choosing to fight? Like what's actually smart and intelligent, and like where should you be putting your energy? Like what ground should you be actually holding? Sometimes we hold on to things out of egotistical pride or whatever it is. And it's like, is that really where your energy needs to go? Like, look at where it really is conscious. Like, use the consciousness to decide which battles are worth really fighting, and which ones can be let go of. Where can there be peace? Where can you let some of them go? Where should you stand your ground? What are the places to actually spend your energy in? So this is something that's like, okay, this is, obviously it's the general. So I wouldn't be able to say whether this is all about love, or it's about business, or it's about your finances, because I can see a lot of different themes coming through and it being applicable in a bunch of different ways. So let's actually take a look at specifically business and career and finances, and let's see what's actually coming up in that space there, right? All right, so we had this for the general overall for your business. This is in the challenge position. And then we have 3 cards again for your spiritual advice, right? I want to make sure that those are all in frame for you guys. Okay. All right, so we're taking a look at the general feel that's going on for the month of March for business, career, finances, that entire realm. So it looks like this is the end of a cycle. You know, the world card shows the wreath, which is the completion of one cycle and the beginning of a new world, a new cycle, something new. That paired with the Page of Pentacles is kind of like, you can even see with the way that he's holding the pentacle itself, right? The coin, which is, it's like there are new opportunities that are being presented. They're kind of like right there at the fingertips. Something new is being offered and presented. So that in conjunction with this, I'm saying like, okay, there's some new opportunities that are going to present themselves to you during the month of March when it comes to finances, business, career. Now, this is whether you're an entrepreneur, independent contractor, work with a company, or if none of those apply to you and this is just about your finances, then read it that way. Some maybe new investment opportunities or something new will come in, right? In the challenge position, we have the Hierophant. Now, it's interesting because the Hierophant has a lot to do with tradition. It can have to do with authority. I would read it differently if it were in another position, like if we were talking about your educational goals or something of that sort. But because it's in the position that it's in, I'm going to say that this is clashing with authority, clashing with rules or structure that are set up in the way that society is supposed to run, right? So okay, let me back up. So basically the Hierophant has to do with the structures that we have in place that are kind of taken as a given for how society runs in what's acceptable, how things are supposed to run, like what the societal obligations are, you know, just like what's accepted and what isn't inside of that structure that's been created. Now, obviously that can be, it can be good to have form and structure. And also sometimes that can be restrictive and stifling and suffocating, right? So there is this deal with the structure that's been in place that feels like it's not working, or it's like not wanting to cling to maybe some of these ideals or some of these structures are outdated and just don't feel like you want to conform to any of those things because it doesn't make sense to you, right? So there could be a rejecting of the ideas for how maybe the establishment that you work in is supposed to run, or how finances are supposed to be run, or how business is supposed to look, right? So this has us looking at like having some kind of struggle with that. Either you're feeling stifled by it and you're inside of that, or wanting to kind of break free from that. And also, this could also be about confronting authority or the establishment, or like if you're working with other people. So I would say if you're working within a company or something like that, or if you're working with other collaborators and they might have a more traditional view about how things should go, really be careful that the way that you're approaching things is not in an aggressive way, right? Like you can definitely choose to look outside of the structures that have been put into place, and maybe like using the Hanged Man as, you know, looking from a different perspective and seeing how you can shift the established rules of how things are supposed to go in your industry and do it differently. So being challenged by the way things have been set up, and also choosing to find ways to do it differently. And that might feel like a challenge, and there's definitely a way that you can move through that. So some of the spiritual advice that you're being given here that I'm seeing is, with the Page of Cups, one way to look at this, one way that I'm seeing this, is kind of like stepping into your dreamer space, looking, feeling into your intuition, and maybe paying attention also to your dreams, perhaps. But your dreams, your intuitions, your intuitive feelings, your like what feels, if you were to be in a space of like kind of fanciful daydreaming, like what could you dream up that really feels good to you? And the reason I'm saying what feels good to you is not just because of the Cups card, but also because it's being paired here with the Queen of Wands, right? And she is passionate and confident and has this kind of ability to, I mean, she's warm and generous and all these different things. But when I'm seeing this like pulled together, it's like your passions, your desires, what you feel confident about, what you want to move towards, that's being shown here. And so it's like even remembering, maybe through the space of daydreaming, maybe through your dreams, maybe through your intuitions, right? And maybe through that youthful kind of space, remembering like what makes you feel lit up, what makes you feel passionate about the work that you're doing or that you're trying to be involved in, right? Following that is what I think is going to bring you some of these new opportunities that are coming in, and to be able to work with working outside of the established structures and doing it differently. Remember that also, this I saw in conjunction here, and I saw like you're not tied to any of the previous projects or ideas or even establishments or whatever that you previously thought that you were. You can always choose to go a different direction, right? So sometimes I think that we feel like when we've gone so far into a particular path and we've put so much into it, we've invested so much into it, it might be hard to leave behind the idea about how we saw it going forward, right? Or the ideas that we had and the plans that we saw going forward for how it was going to be laid out, or the structure that we put into place in order to move it forward. And just like they may not be working anymore. Sometimes what worked in the beginning doesn't still currently work now. So, you know, doing something that may be unorthodox or different might require that you check the ways that you're looking at. Are you too attached to some of the ways that even you, not just society overall or established, you know, structures look at things, but are you also too attached to some of your previous ideas and how they're supposed to move forward? Perhaps there is like some new way, new, more inspired way to move forward in your industry or on your path or what with whatever is coming forward. But yeah, so this is what I'm seeing here for business, career, finances. And then let's take a look at love, because we love love, don't we? We love love. I love love. So, all right. So for my Librans, what is coming up in the realms of love? I'm feeling like this needs a good shuffle after that, honestly. Okay, so what we have coming up in love as the overall, and what is coming up in the space with love as far as what feels challenging. Also, how to move through that. What is the spiritual advice being given to my Librans here? All right. And then also, we're going to tap into the divine masculine and feminine archetypes. You could call that just masculine. It doesn't have to be divine masculine and feminine archetypes, but just to know that there are these masculine and feminine energies that exist within all of us. Remember, this has nothing to do with identification, gender, anything like that. This is just male and female energy, the polarity of energies that exist within all of us, and how that gets expressed in the world. And so we can tune into and tap into certain kinds of strengths that help us move through our challenges, right? And also to remember that if you are into deities, if you are into entities of any kind, and you do believe that's part of your belief structure, your belief system, then just remember that these are the ones that have your back. They're like, hey, we got your back for this month. Don't worry, we're going to help you through this stuff, right? So you can either tap into it on a personal level or both, right? Then we're going to look at what your blind spots are. What's going on with the blind spots for Libras? What is the shadow? The things that trip us up, you know, they wouldn't be coming up if we had already worked through them. So like we all have them. We all have shadows. We all have blind spots. We all have places that we choose to not necessarily look into because, you know, either we don't see it or it's really difficult. It's wince-worthy. It's hard to look at for ourselves, right? So one more we're going to pull is a rune. I find that these are helpful sometimes, just an extra bit, sometimes more instructive, right? Okay, so these are all going to be in the extended version. So this is just kind of based on the feedback that I got from people over the last month. And so, you know, please weigh in, let me know what feels good. You know, do you like the setup? Is there anything you would like me to keep or add? Anything that you would like to shift? So the extended reading is going to be in Patreon, and the link for that is down below. I have a lot of new stuff coming up on the horizon. I'm pretty excited about it. New offerings, new events, and yeah, some information about the format changes and the ones that are also that I'm looking at doing on the horizon as well. So that's all in the beginning of the video. So if you skipped ahead, I would go back and check that out. All right, that's enough. I will see you guys over in the extended and finish this reading out for love and for the rest of the guidance. So thanks, Libra, and I will see you next month. Bye.